क्या किया था हमने लास्ट टाइम के? अच्छा, चलिए एवरीवन, खास तौर पे ना, आनिया, ये मैं थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ बैक इस थोड़ा सा इसका पिछला वाला पार्ट। अच्छा, एनीवेज, वी वर डूइंग कंबशन एनालिसिस एंड दो चीजें रह गई है मोल्स के अंदर, व्हिच इज वी नीड टू do water of crystallization end वाले parts. Basically we did moles में what was moles was you find the number of particles of one thing and you'll be able to figure out the moles of the rest of all the things that are involved in a reaction. अच्छा, ये था, this was combustion analysis. This was, yeah, I told you that if you have a hydrocarbon, so what was a hydrocarbon? It was a compound that's made up of carbon and hydrogen. Okay? We don't know what the number of carbon and hydrogen are, but there was a general equation that could be used for balancing any equation. Okay, for example, if I have a hydrocarbon and that is C2H4. Okay, so let's say I have C2H4. अब ये जो C2H4 है ना, if you compare it with the CXHY, it's that means that means X has a value of 2 and Y has a value of 4. Okay, मतलब ये इसका मतलब है ना, X is 2 and Y is 4. ठीक है, so this was a general equation. Now, if I write the combustion equation for C2H4, so it's going to be C2H4 would be, not C2H4, would react with oxygen and it would produce, yeah, produce, correct. It's going to produce carbon dioxide and it would produce water, right? Now, everyone, well, you know how to balance an equation, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this general equation to balance this. So अब मुझे बताओ कि if x has a value of 2, so if x has a value of 2, the carbon dioxide would be, x has a value of 2, right? So that means I need to plug in 2 over here. ठीक है, क्योंकि if you compare it, ठीक है, make sure you compare this with this. So if x is 2, तो वहाँ पे carbon dioxide would be 2 as well, right? अच्छा, similarly, y, हमारा, what is our y? It's 4. So if it is 4, तो अगर यहाँ पे, if there is y over here, there would be y by 2 on the other side, यानी y divided by 2. So if y is 4, there's going to be y divided by 2 over here, which will come out to be 4 divided by 2, which is also going to be 2. Oh, finally, I've got balancing में what number should come over here? It's going to be x plus y by 4, right? So I'm going to do the math. What is x plus y by 4 over here? So that will come out to be 2 plus uh, y divided by 4. So that's going to be 4 divided by 4. And that's going to be 1, right? Uh, so 2 plus 1. So 3, it's going to be 3, right? So I'm just going to repeat everything. Uh, I'm just giving you the importance of this equation, which is that this is a general equation that could be used to balance any combustion of hydrocarbons. So x was 2, x was 2. So that means carbon dioxide over here would be 2, right? So I did that. I said next was y was in our case 4. So over here it would be y by 2. So over here it's going to be 4 divided by 2. That's going to be 2. Or oxygen के साथ you had x plus y by 4. So you had x plus y by 4. So if I did x plus y by 4, it's going to be 2 plus 4 divided by 4. That's going to give me 3. Okay, so I got a balanced equation without trying to actually balance it. Okay, I did not actually try to balance it. I just used the above equation. I was able to balance it. Okay, so is this clear how this above equation could be used to balance any hydrocarbon equation? Malik, clear? Is this clear? Ahmed, Rania, Hania, is this Zarar? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Achha, so Nabila, 3 is, remember, how did we get 3? In the general equation, it was x plus y by 4, right? So my x is 2 and my y is 4. So x plus y by 4 would be, what would it be? It's going to be 2. y is 4 divided by 4, and 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 plus 2 is going to come out to be 3. So x plus y by 4 over here would come out to be 3. ठीक है तो बीटा, is this clear? तो ठीक है. अच्छा, but I mean, in reality, there's no point to this equation because you already know how to balance it. Okay, you could have balanced it anyways. Because if you had tried balancing it, there's two carbon dioxide, so you would have multiplied this by two. There are four hydrogens, so you're going to multiply this by two, right? I mean, you know how to balance an equation. So there's in fact, I mean, this is not really helpful in balancing the equation. So what I'm going to tell you now is, okay, why did I even write this equation? Why do we even need this? Because balancing to वैसे ही आती है हमें, ठीक है? So why waste time doing this? So this equation over here is very helpful in trying to find out the formula of hydrocarbons. ठीक है? I'm going to show you how. I said the way. So for example, there's a question. ठीक है? So remember, you have to remember that equation, and we're going to try and find. We're going to try and find the formula of the unknown uh, hydrocarbon. Yeah, I'm just going to do one question because this is not very important. iGCSE, you very rarely get questions. Okay, let's try and do two questions. So let me give you an example of yeah, second questions. So I'm gonna try and give you an example of a question. Uh, and just one second. Hopefully each second then let me. Yeah. So so the question is, there is 0.25 grams of a hydrocarbon. Yeah, there's 0.25 grams of a hydrocarbon, and it undergoes complete combustion. So they burn it. Now we don't know what the formula of the hydrocarbon is. So it undergoes complete. I say it's gonna, because even when you do past papers, you don't really often see this question. So make sure you highlight this because this has been asked a few times. So undergoes complete combustion. And carbon dioxide and water are produced. So the amount of carbon dioxide and water that are produced is 0.845 grams of, so you're getting 0.845 grams of carbon dioxide, and you're getting 0.173 grams of water. So now what you need to do is, and they've also given the MR of the hydrocarbon. The molar mass or the MR of the hydrocarbon, that is known. And that has a value of 116. Okay, that's 116. So that's given to us as well. Now we're going to try and figure out what this unknown hydrocarbon is. Now, for an unknown hydrocarbon, I'm going to use the same equation, which is CXHY plus X plus Y by 4 oxygens. And it's going to give me how many X CO2s, and it's going to give me Y by 2. It's going to give me Y by 2 H2Os. Okay. So that's our unknown hydrocarbon at the moment. अच्छा, अब ये कि I've been given moles. I've been given not moles, I've been given masses. एक सेकंड खोल के नहीं रहा तो छोड़ो. अच्छा, so I've been given the mass of the I've been given the mass of the hydrocarbon, which is 0.250 grams. Now listen to this carefully. I've been given the mass of carbon dioxide, which is 0.845 grams of carbon dioxide and 0.173 grams of water. Bas ek dafa ye confirm karo carbon dioxide, yeah, 0.173 grams of water, right? What I can do now is I can find the moles of each one of them. You can remember the target is to figure out what CXHY is. I've been given the moles of each one of them. I can figure out moles. Moles ka kya? What is the formula of moles? Moles is mass divided by molar mass, right? So moles over here would be 0.25 grams divided by the molar mass. As I remember, we don't know what the formula of the hydrocarbon is, but the molar mass is already given to us. That's 116. So I'm going to use that. So can somebody tell me what the moles are? Zara iske what?
2.155.
I said 2 point.
155.
2.155 into 10 to the power minus 3.
So minus 3 कहाँ से आ गया? भाई confirm minus 3 है?
Yes, sir. -3 है.
Minus 3 है, ठीक है. अच्छा minus 3 moles. So I'm going to find the moles of the carbon dioxide as well. That's 0.845 grams. Divide by what? Divide by the amount of carbon dioxide. The amount of carbon dioxide, periodic table में check करो, that's 44. ठीक है, that's carbon is 12, oxygen is 16 times 2. So how many moles do we get?
0.0192.
So इधर लिख लेते हैं 0.0192 moles. And the last one, the moles of water, that's 0.173 grams. Divide by what? Divide by 18, right? So how much do we get?
9.611 times 10 minus 3.
So times 10 minus 3 moles, right? So now what we're going to do is, I found the moles. So now, remember all equations are balanced in whole numbers. ठीक है, मतलब decimals में balance नहीं होती. If you see any equation, it's 1:3, ratio 2, ratio 2, right? An equation is always balanced in the simplest ratio. It's the ratio in which the reactants and the products are getting produced, right? So it's always the simplest ratio. So we found the moles. You got 2.155 times 10 power minus 3 moles of this. You got 0.0192 moles of carbon dioxide. You got 9.611 times 10 power minus 3 moles of water, right? So you have the moles. So how do we convert it into a simple whole number ratio? The way you're going to do that is you divide all of them by what? You divide all of them by the smallest number. But 4 or 2 ka ratio, na, if you want to find the simplest ratio, you take 2, divide both of them by 2, right? So the way you find the simplest ratio is you divide all of them by the smallest number, which I think is this one, right? Yeah, that's 2.155 times 10 power minus 3, and this is also going to be 2.155 times 10 power minus 3. And this one would also be 2.155 times 10 power minus 2.155 times 10 power minus 3, I think is the smallest number in this case. अच्छा एक मुझे इसमें ना एक शक हो रहा है क्वेश्चन में. अच्छा can you try and solve 0.845 grams, 0.173 and 0.250. ये ठीक ही लगा. 0.250, 0.845 and point. अच्छा what numbers do we get? एक गलत है इसमें एक. What is 0.845 divided by 44? Math में I think there's a mistake in the math. और ठीक है but एक सेकंड. अच्छा मुझे numbers बताओ. What are we getting? This is 1 mole, right? What are we getting over here? क्या है? What is 0.0192? divided by क्या 2.155 exponent minus 3. क्या वैल्यू आ रही है?
8.909.
Yeah, that's coming out to be 8.909
9.
moles. Or what about the next one? नहीं मसला हो गया, मैंने एक वैल्यू गलत डाली हुई है, एक सेकंड देना मुझे. लेट मी क्विकली करेक्ट दिस. एक मैथ्स इसमें गलत है. जस्ट गिव मी 1 सेकंड. कहाँ चला गया? मुझे शक था उसमें कि वन ऑफ द वैल्यूज इज रॉन्ग, मिस टाइप्ड है. अच्छा, लास्ट वाली वैसे क्या आ रही है? व्हाट आर वी गेटिंग फॉर द लास्ट वन?
4.459.
Okay, give me 1 second. Value I think is incorrect. थोड़ी सी मैथ जल्दी से करते हैं, लेकिन let me find the right question. One of the maths over here is wrong. It's mistyped. अच्छा, just 1 second. Give me 1 second. Moles and combustion analysis. The actual question मैं ढूंढ रहा हूँ in the past paper. Just a second. Just 1 second. मैं quickly ना, ठीक है. I think this value was actually incorrectly typed. Post के worksheet and it was incorrectly typed. I'm just going to do everything quickly. Repeat everything. इस सारे को उठाओ because one of the values was wrong. नहीं, वो actual question found an actual question, ठीक है. Typing में गलत हुई है. अच्छा, so very quickly, he says in this question there's 35.2 grams. I'm just going to repeat everything very quickly. 35.2 grams of carbon dioxide, and there's 14.4 grams of water, and 0.2 moles. अच्छा, इसके moles is already given in the question. 0.2 moles of the hydrocarbon that's being burnt. अच्छा, सारों के, I mean 1 mole is already there, so that's already there. That's 0.2 moles. This moles we can find out. How do we find moles? That's 35.2 divided by what? Divided by 44. That's the MR. So what do we get? कितना आ रहा है? What's 35.2 divided by 44?
0.8.
So that's coming out to be 0.800 moles. And what about this one? 14.4 moles would be 14.4 divided by the MR of water, which is 18. So what do we get? 14.4 divided by 18. I think that will also give you
Yes, 0.8.
0.8 moles. ठीक है. अच्छा, तो but it's the same question except one of the values in the previous one was incorrect. Achha, so we found the moles of all the substances except for oxygen. We didn't find the moles because no data was given about it. 0.8 moles, 0.8 moles, and 0.2 moles. Achha, equations are always balanced in whole numbers, so I need to convert these moles into whole numbers. To convert them into whole numbers, I would divide by the smallest, which is in our case is 0.2. Okay, if I do that, what do we get? The first one is 1. This would come out to be, I think, 4. And this would also come out to be 4. So clear. So what I've done is I found the whole number ratio of the reactants and products. I got the moles in decimals, but I converted that ratio into whole numbers. Yeah, the clear is, is this clear, this part?
Yes.
If that is clear, the whole question was that they gave us information about इसको तो हटा दो बिल्कुल क्योंकि one of the values over there was wrong. So the whole question was they gave us some information about the amount of carbon dioxide and the amount of water and the amount of hydrocarbon that were being burnt. We found the mole ratio of the reactants and products. Using this, what we can now do is we can figure out what the formula of the hydrocarbon is. So यहाँ पे moles क्या आ रहे हैं? That's coming out to be 4. Over here, it's X carbon dioxide. So that means the value of X is going to be what? It's going to be 4. Is that clear? Because once we found the mole ratio, we found out that there should be 4 carbon dioxide. So that means X has a value of 4. Is this clear? Or इसी
Yes, sir.
तरह, the other part is that water should be how many moles? Y by 2 moles, right? Over here, I'm getting how many moles of water? I'm getting 4 moles of water. So that means this Y by 2 must have a value of 4. You can give 4 waters there. So I'm getting 4 water molecules. So that means Y by 2 has a value of 4, which means Y will have a value of 8. Well, if I rearrange that, Y would come out. I mean, we're going to get Y is equal to 8. So I finally figured out what my hydrocarbon is. Okay, this CXHY, I figured this out. Okay, it's the formula of the hydrocarbon is C4H8. Okay. So is this idea clear that why do we use this equation? We use this equation if they give us information about different quantities of reactants and products. They give us the amount of carbon dioxide or the amount of oxygen or the amount of hydrocarbon, right? And we figure out their moles of each one of them. And using those, we have figured out the whole number ratio or the simplest whole number ratio in which they're reacting. So by just comparison, comparing this with this, comparing this with this, and comparing this with this, we are able to figure out what the hydrocarbon is. Okay, X carbon dioxide, so that means 4 carbon dioxides. So that means X is 4. Y by 2 H2Os, over here I'm getting 4 H2Os. So that means Y by 2 has a value of 4, which means Y is equal to 8. And once I know what X and Y is, I'm able to figure out that it's going to be C4H8. Okay, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Thorough clear? Or similarly, I'm going to do another question, okay? This question is, let's do another one, which would be very similar. Now this question is that he says that there is 10 cm cube of an unknown hydrocarbon. Again, unknown hydrocarbon. So if he says it's unknown, that means its formula would be what? CXHY. We don't know how many carbons it's got. We don't know how many hydrogens it's got. And this one is burnt in excess oxygen. Okay, so he's burning it in excess oxygen, and the amount is given. He says that he's burning it in 70 cm cube of oxygen. And after that, he says that the final amount of gas produced so the final amount of gas that is produced, there is 30 cm cube of carbon dioxide produced, and there is 20 cm cube of unreacted oxygen. He didn't tell us anything about the amount of water. So now I'm going to use that equation, which is CXHY X plus Y by 4 O2, and I've got X carbon dioxide, and I've got Y by 2. Unknown hydrocarbon, this is the general equation. So what is the information that's given? That the carbon dioxide is 30 cm cube. So what about the unknown hydrocarbon? That's 10 cm cube. Yeah, that's 10 cm cube. So 10 cm cube of the unknown hydrocarbon, that's given. 30 cm cube of carbon dioxide is being produced, that's given. There's one more information that's given, and that's the amount of oxygen. What is he saying? He added an excess of 70 cm cube of oxygen. Excess means ke zyada add kar diya tha. He added too much of oxygen. And at the end of the day, 20 cm cube unreacted oxygen was still present. So what is the amount of oxygen that actually took part in the reaction? So he added 70. 20 remained after the reaction. So that means kitna ho gaya? That means 50 cm cube of oxygen was taking part in the reaction. Is this part clear to everyone? Ye clear hai?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have figured out the amount of hydrocarbon that's reacting. I figured out the amount of oxygen that's reacting, and I've figured out the amount of carbon dioxide that is getting produced. But I have no idea about water. Okay, that information is not given in the question. Now, based on this, I'm going to try and figure out what the formula of the hydrocarbon is. अब मुझे बताओ कि what is the formula of finding moles of gases? Remember, these are all gases. Okay, the volume given was for gas. So, what is the formula of finding moles? If you have a gas, it's volume of gas divided by 24 decimeter cube, right? So I'm going to try and find out the moles for each one of them. The moles of hydrocarbon would be 10 cm cube, but it should be in dm cube, which is 0.01. 10 cm cube, how do you convert that into dm cube? You divide by 1000. You divide by 1000. So that's going to give you 0.01. And divide by 24. I say, what do we get if we do that? The formula, the clear, and its formula for moles of gases is volume of gas divided by 24 dm cube. So I had the volume, I divided by 24, but it should be in dm cube. Kitna hai? What are we getting for moles?
Uh, Sir, 4.166 times 10 minus 4.
So times 10 power minus 4 moles. So what about the next one? That's 50 cm cube. So moles would be in dm cube. This would be 0.05 if you divide by 1000 and divide by 24 dm cube. So how many moles do we get for that? You get 0.05 divided by 24. That's
2.0833 times 10 minus 3.
the times 10 power minus 3 moles. And then about carbon dioxide, that's 30 cm cube. So the 30, yeah, 30 cm cube. So that's moles divided by 0.03 dm cube divided by 24 dm cube. So how many moles do we get?
1.25 times 10 minus 3.
1.25 times 10 power minus 3 moles. 1 by 8 एक second. So confirm it, 0.03 and divide by 24, right? Okay, exactly. Okay, that's the one. Now the next thing is we have the moles. I have the moles of hydrocarbon. I have the moles of oxygen. I have the moles of carbon dioxide. But those moles are in decimals. Okay, remember the equation is going to be balanced in whole numbers. So I need to convert these moles into whole numbers. So I'm going to divide those moles by the smallest one. One say Mrs. Smallest. I think that's 4.166 times 10 power minus 4. So I'm going to divide all of them by this. The first one would come out to be 1. What do you get for this if I divide this by 4.166 times 10 power minus 4 and the next one as well? Yeah, what are the other two? First one is 1. second or third बताना है. What do you get for that?
5.000 और फिर आगे
Well,
720115.
well, approximately मतलब 5 ही है, ठीक है. What about the other one? 1.25 times 10 power minus 3. इसका क्या है? Point divided by 4.166 exponent minus 4. वो क्या है? That's I'm getting approximately 3, right? Is this clear?
Yes, sir. 3.
अच्छा, तो again फिर से I had the general equation for the combustion of a hydrocarbon. I was able to figure out कि what are the, I mean, the first one is 1 mole. The second one is how many moles? It's 5 moles. And the third one is supposed to be the amount of carbon dioxide, which should be 3 moles, right? So now I'm just going to try and solve this by comparison. I would know what X and Y are. Okay, X तो directly पता लग गया. X is, I mean, there should be how many carbon dioxides? 3 carbon dioxides. The moles are saying that there should be 3 carbon dioxides. So that basically means X will have a value of 3. So that is done. We know what X is. What about the next one? How much oxygen? That's X plus Y by 4. What are my what are my calculations saying? I should have 5 carbon dioxides. Sorry, 5 oxygens. So that means this X plus Y by 4, it should be equal to 5. There should be 5 oxygens over here. So that means X plus Y by 4, it should have a value of 5. ठीक है, इसके ऊपर लिख भी देता हूँ. I mean, there should be 5 oxygens, there should be 3 carbon dioxides, and there should be just one hydrocarbon. That's what my mole ratio is saying. So all I need to do now is I need to solve for X and Y. X, I already know. For Y, I can solve this because I already know what X is. X is 3 because on the right side, I know that it's 3 plus Y by 4, and that's equal to 5. And if I solve for Y, usko to le jo, 3 on the other side, that's going to give me 2. And 4, if I take it to the other side, that's going to give you 8. So that means X is 3 and Y is 8. So my formula of the hydrocarbon is C3 and H8. Yeah, that is the unknown hydrocarbon that I had in the equation. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
You समझ रहे हैं कि this is something that's difficult, ठीक है, and it's something that rarely gets asked. Like, if it gets asked, you're going to lose a lot of marks if you're not able to solve it. It's not a typical moles question. It's slightly a very different moles question, ठीक है. So still, I think we should try and do one more question. एक second. अच्छा, ये total question ही आज तक दो आए हैं. At least ये 2022 तक. नहीं, वो फिर they must be in another paper. But let me find this. So let's try and do one more question. Ye structured, but it's kind of the same. And kind of the same question. Now the question states that there is, okay, so there is another unknown hydrocarbon. So there's another question. And again, it's CXHY. They don't know what the hydrocarbon is, and they want to figure it out. Now that hydrocarbon has a volume of it's a gas again. It has a volume of 25 cm cube. So that is known. And he says that he burns it in 200 cm cube of it. It's burnt. The question states that it's burnt in 200 cm cube of of excess oxygen. So he's using a lot of oxygen. And at the end, what happens is there is 50 cm cube of at the end of the combustion there is 50 cm cube of unreacted oxygen. So there's 50 cm. So basically, from that information, all you can derive is that what is the amount of oxygen that's reacting? He uses 200 cm cube, and there's 50 cm cube that is still left unreacted at the end. So that means only 150 cm cube took part in the reaction. Okay, so we figured out that only 50 cm cube of 150 cm cube of oxygen is actually taking part in the reaction. And then he talks about carbon dioxide. That what is the amount of carbon dioxide that is produced? So he says that the amount of carbon dioxide that is produced uh, is 100 cm cube. So he gives us that information as well. And now you have to figure out what the hydrocarbon is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same equation, CXHY plus what x plus y by 4 O2. And on the other side, it's going to be x CO2s and y by 2 H2O gas molecules. So what is the amount of hydrocarbon? That's 25 cm cube. What is the amount of oxygen that's used up? That's 150 cm cube. And what is the amount of carbon dioxide that is produced? That's 100 cm cube. Okay, based on that information, I'm going to try and figure out what the formula of the hydrocarbon is. I'm going to do this very quickly. The first thing is I'm going to find the moles of each one of them. So 25 in dm cube would be 1000 se divide karo. That's going to be 0.025 dm cube divided by 24. This would be 0.15 dm cube divided by 24. And this would be 100 divided by 1000. That's 0.1 dm cube divide that by 24. So find out the moles of each one of them, and then find the simplest ratio in which these moles exist, or in which these reactants and products are reacting. So it's 0.025 divided by what? Divided by 24. That gives me 0.00104116 moles.
Sir, 1.0416 times 10 minus 3 आ रहा है.
बस ठीक है भैया. वो अगला क्या 0.15 divided by 24. And that's 0.00625. And the last one is 0.1 divided by 24, right? You check करते रहना 0.1 divided by 24, that's 0.00416 moles or 6x moles. So I've got all these values. What do I do with these values? I'm going to divide them by this because I need whole number ratio. So I'm going to, I think this is the smallest. So I'm going to divide all of them by this number. So all of them by this so that I get whole numbers. So it's 0.00104116. That's going to give me 1. Divide this as well, 0.00104116. And divide this as well, that's going to be 0.00. गलत हो गया. 0.00104116. Now the first one is 1. In whole number ratio, that's 1. What is the next one? What is the next one? 0.00625 and divide that by 0.00104116. So that is approximately 6. Yeah, that is approximately 6. And The last one, what is the last one? 0.00416. क्या करना है इसको divide by 0.0010416. That's approximately 4. Okay. So again, I repeat, I found the moles of all of them. Okay, volume of gas divided by 24. Once I found the moles, I turned the moles into whole numbers so that I get a whole number ratio because the equation is going to be balanced in whole numbers. Or a simple comparison, which is okay, how many carbon dioxide? X carbon dioxide. यहाँ पे what does it say? It's 4 carbon dioxide. So that means X has a value of 4. Clear है ये? So X is 4. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Achha, similarly, the next one. O2, how many O2s? X plus Y by 4 O2s. यहाँ पे what does it say? It says 6 O2s. So that means X plus Y by 4 should have a value of 6. So X plus Y by 4 should have a value of 6. And since I already know what X is, I can just plug that in and solve this one. X is 4 plus Y by 4 is equal to 6. So 4 ko to leke jao, it's going to be 2. Take this 4 to the other side and it's going to become 8. So Y would come out to be 8. So my final formula of the hydrocarbon is C4H8. Okay, so that's my final formula. Anyways, इसके ऊपर there are very few questions on this in past papers as well. Just note this down. It's a totally different way of solving a moles question. Very different from the rest of the moles questions. So make sure you give, even when you're doing past papers, you're not going to come across these particular moles questions a lot. But you might, there's a very small, tiny chance that you might end up getting, maybe in your paper, you might end up, if you're unlucky, you might end up getting, और होता भी 3-4 mark है ना, so it's probably going to be important if by some random chance you get this question. तो इसको साइड पर नोट कर लेना. I'm going to share the notes after this, ठीक है? So water of crystallization we'll do tomorrow. ठीक है? This practice would be enough for this one. क्योंकि इतना frequent तो है नहीं, so maybe 1 or 2 questions, practice those. That would be sufficient. Water of crystallization is something that comes very often. So we'll do that tomorrow then, ठीक है? चलिए, लेकिन ये clear है, इस पे कोई question नहीं है किसी का? Ruba, is this clear? Nabira, Ahmed, Fatma, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. तो ठीक है. कल करते हैं क्लास, ठीक है?
Laugh, sir.
I'll share the recording and the notes. Take care, Allah Hafiz.